So yeah, I'm here really to talk about the stakeholders' perspective, a stakeholder from different sides of the fence. I mean, 4 or 5 sides of the fence. So I kind of feel I have like not a well-rounded, but some sort of semblance from different perspectives in terms of how this certification may help us. That's me, Jason, Lindsay. Oh, I need a thing? You have it? Okay, so a couple talking points in a short 10 minutes. I'm just going to talk about some of the references and experiences that I have had when I've interfaced with this incentive. Very briefly skim past the second point, which is the registry and incentive that was spoken about before, talk about some misunderstandings, and the fourth one, which seems like a oddball, but for me that's the most important part of my presentation. A part that I didn't have in my presentation was these two ladies here, probably, if you're sitting in this room, the most important people that you need to form a relationship with. This is so much to try to digest. I mean, I have a familiarity with accounting and you know, just all things financial. That's where my background is, and it's very, very difficult for me. And not without the help of Ms. Messiah, when we did our submission, we were able to fully understand it. So before I get into my presentation, I can't tell you how essential that is. Don't feel that you will leave here, read the paperwork, and still fully understand it. Yeah? So a couple different side of the fence as a stakeholder. You know, I was the VP at Invest TT for development planning and management that was really focused on supporting and developing the creative industries. Now I'm the managing director of Full Circle Animation, one of the largest animation studios in the region. I'm the executive producer on Noka Wheel, and I also supported, while at Invest TT, the Cutlass in terms of administering their certification with regards to the registry. And I think that's where I probably have my deepest engagement with getting certified and understanding the benefits of it. National Registry and the Incentive. I mean, hearing some of this, I sort of don't want to step out of line, but I'm really going to give it to you as we see it as practitioners at my studio and the productions we worked on. I mean, I feel that the target is, given where our film industry is less on us as producers and more on our ability to engage with the corporate market and the corporate. This is all about that engagement. I mean, sure, you could apply for the benefit as a production house, but the truth is, I'm not sure how many of us are doing that well to be worried about taxes, you know, at 5 and 10 million. So I think that it's important, depending on where you are, and with the different people here wearing different hats, that we try to focus and understand how is this applicable to me, and understand the context that you're going to need to access it. Once you understand that, you'll know how to, you know, sell it and the other things. So without disrespect to the state, the incentives, and the people who put this together, from the producer's perspective, there are a couple positives and negatives, purely in terms of perspective, purely, yeah? And the first one I just mentioned is definitely is, which I think is the best thing about this incentive, is an opportunity to engage. It gives you a reason to knock on the door of a corporate entity who, trust me, does not want to hear from anybody in the film industry. There's so many other industries that they are concerned with either investing in, participating in, sponsoring. I mean, I think I'm in the film industry, and I think that it is, I mean, we're not the first stop. So we need a reason to talk to them, and this gives us a reason to talk to them. At the same time, though, corporate Trinidad does well enough to be able to sponsor cultural products. And the focus is whether they're going to support your product or another product, regardless of the industry. So you have to use this incentive as an opportunity to engage, to see how you could beat out that guy with the, you know, I don't know, renewable farming project. No disrespect to anybody who may have a renewable farming project. But yeah, that's really what you have to focus on. It gives you the opportunity to engage because it's a great incentive. The second one is bottom line is these corporations that will not invest, I don't think they see the film industry right now as a place to invest, but they will sponsor and they will support corporate products for a number of reasons. CSR, it could be any number of reasons. So it gives you the edge over other people competing for the same portion of their budgets, which they put aside. They have their marketing departments who have budgets, and it's either you or that guy over there. So you have to understand it to be able to sell it and see how it applies to their general CSR mandate and whatnot. And this gives you that edge, the 150. And the optics, it sounds great and it looks great. 150%. I mean, we are doing something now. I'm also involved in fashion and the chair of Fashion Association in Trinidad and Tobago. And we're trying to put something on in London, a show. And the lady from the High Commission in London wrote me and said, Jason, don't forget about the tax incentive. I was like, oh, okay. You know? So the optics of it is nice. It excites people. Even though they don't understand how it works, it just sounds great. And that's a good reason, again, to be able to start a conversation, because it's conversations we want to get people engaged in the industry to see how we can make things happen. It may not be through this. Some of the negatives, purely from a perspective side, it could be rocket science to understand. If we don't understand it, then we don't know how to apply it, how to access it, and how to be able to engage others to be able to, you know, get support for the projects that we have. Again, and this is the first time that I met Anissa, but I have engaged with Ms. Messiah, and that interface is invaluable. I think you should all get her contact. She's very accessible, and she has very knowledgeable. It doesn't give direct funding to the project, which we all want, and it's not easy to engage in corporations in general. Some misunderstandings. I mean, I sort of stumbled through all of these. So I mentioned the first one. I mean, and it was mentioned before, it's not a rebate, it's not direct funding. So don't say that it is to corporations. Don't think that it is. It's not. For me, this is a key one. It's not a net saving to a sponsor. So don't go into an accountant or a marketing person, think that, you know, well, you back my project, I'm saving you money. You're not saving them money. All you're doing is that portion of their budgets that may apply to something like this, they will spend less. You know, that was pointed in the spreadsheet, so they should take a chance. But don't sell that is a saving to them. The tax saving, Ms. Messiah mentioned this, is not the value they spend. So it's not spend $3 million on my project, and not only you get back $3 million, you get back 150 more. That's not the case. And the amount sponsored, I put may in. I know the answers to these questions definitively, but I didn't know, you know, I just didn't know the legal side of it. So I put may in to cover my, you know. So it may, and Ms. Messiah mentioned this as well, the amount sponsored may not be an expense incurred in normal business operations. And they made that distinction. I took a note of it myself because I continue to try to understand this. So be very clear on this. This company, from the sponsor standpoint, this company that you're approaching, that money that they plan to spend, if they sign that check with or without this, that is not part, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, that is not part of the expenses in carrying out their business. So that is not part of their taxable income. So it's not to say that they were going to buy chairs for their office, you know, but instead they spend money on you, and now, because they spent money on you versus buying the chairs in the office, then they pay less taxes. Because your project is not something that they would have done in a normal business. So they still have to buy chairs for the office, all right? And they still have to now come and sponsor your project. So you compete against that. You compete against other people that want their money for sponsorship in the same category. And that's what you have to be very careful in assuming. For me, and that's one of the ideas more difficult to understand. Sales, this is, I mean, I'm just going to take maybe 2 minutes extra talking about sales, because I think for us as producers to be able to get the most out of this, it's not a rebate. Carl will probably talk about the rebate, which is also great, and it's closer to what we want. But we have to sell this to be able to get what we want. So I'm going to give you some sales strategy and planning that I have employed successfully. First of all, get registered. Get registered with the National Registry for 100 products or anything that you have that's a cultural product. Don't worry about if it applies or not. The process and the people will help you along. Register. Get in the registry. Figure out everything else after. Even if you don't do anything else, get registered. Because that takes a while. And I mean, you could find out. I'm not going to tell you how it works, but it's not so straightforward. So you start by doing that. Don't try to figure all of this out. Get your property registered. Get familiar with the legislation. You see, I said I had your name. Look, Ms. Messiah is invaluable. I just met Anissa, but I mean, you need to engage with these people. Pay attention to the corporations that support cultural projects. I mean, you see it. You pay attention, LNG, BG. I mean, people have parts of their budgets. I mean, these people make profits that are insane. Don't go by, Jason Lindsay's hardware and feel that they will apply to me. You need to go to pay attention to companies that support cultural products and understand that they do it for particular reasons. Yeah, so you need to understand that and then understand, you need to, of course, work it. So you need to establish relationships. I'll give you one of the secrets: people in accounting and people in the marketing departments who you need to be friendly with, right? Sure, you could go to the CEO, but the CEOs sometimes don't understand that. The thing about the marketing people is they already have this slate from 6 months and the things they want to support. So again, behind one of the secrets is publicly traded companies and bigger companies usually publish annual reports. Those annual reports tell the budget cycles and the financial year. Find out when those dates are 6 months before they start preparing the budget, okay? You get that little piece of information for free. Annual report's supposed to be confidential. That's why I said is a secret. I mean, even though it's on everybody's table. But you need to understand those cycles. It's extremely important because you can't go to LNG in September and their budget year starts in January because everything is already allocated at the end. If you have an discussion in September, you want to be considered for the next financial year. So this is behind the scenes. This is what sort of helps you get positioned in against the other people who are applying for their money. What's another important one we have here? Accounting people and marketing people. Yeah, it's good to know who those people are. The marketing people, it sounds great. So that slide I spoke about the optics, it just sounds great to them. Accounting people will know exactly what the benefit is, and they know how it can apply given where they think the company is. All right, the thing about it is you should know both because the marketing people may not appreciate what this incentive is really about. And they may still want to go by Bungie Garland or Marshall Montano because they're looking at the marketing value. The accounting person understands, well, if you register, this is what I could get. Now, it's a double-edged sword because if they're not making any profits, I mean, it's a waste of time discussion, but they're the ones that need. So get familiar with these people and sort of see where their heads are. And, well, I mentioned be aware of cycles. I think that's me. That's it. That's the end. Okay, thanks.
That was good.